Yeah. Sure. You take it when you get back. It's also true. It's nothing. Like, I mean, Alex gonna be stuck on my makes a very long piece for me. Yeah. Usually I think. Well.
All right, good morning. Everyone doing okay? How's everyone doing? Anyone else seen the Minecraft movie 3 times already?
I saw it twice.
Twice?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're like right there.
Yeah.
I'm like, my children wander the house yelling chicken jockey and
Oh.
flint and steel, and I feel like I've got that movie like pretty well memorized after 3 times on opening weekend, right? I really hope we're done for now, right? And every time they're like, we have to stay for the end credits. I'm like, of course we do. Let's stay for the end.
We missed them the first time. We did, we missed them.
Yeah. My 12-year-old was all over that. She said, no, don't get up.
We just were coming back a second time.
That helps. That helps to know, right? They're already, now they're eyeing 5 Nights at Freddy's too.
Yeah.
Right? So it's almost like we have one that they're eyeing and we have to buy tickets forever in advance. Yeah, I don't know. I saw the first one like 3 times with them, so we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, so if I randomly yell flint and steel, forgive me. Anyways, I put this up here to remind you. Our second exam is on Wednesday. So I'll talk about this at the end today, but our second exam's on Wednesday. It's also Multicultural Day, which is kind of exciting if you've never been to one here. It's like a whole campus event. Really cool. A lot of people don't hold traditional class on that day anyway. So we won't have class on Wednesday, but you do have your test. So you don't have to take it during our time, but I'm giving you our time to take it. So you have that hour and 15 minutes should you want to take it then, but you can take it at any time just before 11:59 p.m. on Wednesday. Same format and style and everything as the first exam. I'll say a little more about it later, but I wanted to make sure it was on your mind. And then that will be the end of like this unit. And then when we come back on Monday, we start the last third of our class. I'm kind of getting down to it as we get into like mid-April, which is exciting but sad at the same time. A little bit of both. So we'll get back into this. We have just like another 2 slides of chapter 7 on love and intimacy, and then we'll move on to our last chapter, which is chapter 10. So we ended last time talking about the chemistry of love. Sorry if you had that song stuck in your head for a little bit of time. So 2 more slides here. So the first one is all about who we are attracted to, like who are we drawn to. So a couple of things that we've noticed, right? So attraction is complicated and who we're drawn to is complicated, but we have seen like 4 things that consistently come up in research, and they are proximity, reciprocity, similarity, and attractiveness. So these are 4 elements that correlate very strongly with who we tend to be pulled toward. And it's not for everybody, but oftentimes what we see, and some of them make a lot of sense, like on a common sense level, we tend to be attracted to and enter into relationships with people who are close to us. That's what proximity means, like they're near. People that we interact with on a daily basis, people that we see, people who live near us, rather than people who are farther away. Now, that's not always the case, obviously, with online dating and everything that we have with dating apps and so on, but it's often people that we are physically close to in terms of people like we interact with or see on a daily basis. We also see that reciprocity tends to be a big one in relationships. This idea of like give and take and balance. Okay, so it's okay in a relationship when sometimes one person gives a little bit more than the other. And then there's kind of like a give and take or a balance to it. But relationships that are really unbalanced don't tend to last as long as relationships that are more balanced. It makes sense. If you're always the one giving or taking, that creates like an unequal dynamic. So generally, relationships that are more balanced and equal or reciprocal tend to do better. Not always, but most of the time. Similarity is another big one. So Paula Abdul might say that opposites attract, but similar people stay together. Okay, so you might be attracted to people who are opposite to you or not like you, but generally people who have common like core values, belief systems, and some degree of interest tend to do better together. Right? If you come up from very different family dynamics, very different backgrounds, very different religious beliefs, for example, sometimes that can be a barrier. Not always, you don't have to be the exact same, right? You don't have to like the same things, but have enough similarity that you can like mesh with each other and have things in common. So you tend to be attracted to people who are a little different, but last with people who are a little more similar. And then we tend to have physical attractiveness be a big component. Not for everybody, but for a lot of people, finding someone attractive is a big like element of relationship success. And luckily, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, so we all have different things we're attracted to. But this tends to also be a key piece. So just 4 things that consistently pop up in research about who we enter into relationships with and stay in relationships with. And then finally, on the last thing, some things kind of building on that, things that tend to be characteristics of like high quality lasting relationships. A lot of similarity, but communication. And we spent a lot of time talking about communication like before the film. Think about the couples in the film who didn't have good communication. It's a barrier, it's a problem, right? Maybe not in the Home Depot, right? But it can be an issue, right? Relationships that have good supportive communication with each other tend to last longer and be of a higher quality. You see your partner as your best friend and companion, right? You enjoy spending time with your partner. One of the highest correlations of relationship success is this bullet right here. Frequent positive interactions. You do things with your partner that are positive and fun. Right now, this could just be laughing over something small. It could be going and doing fun things together, but you have positive interactions. That's one of the most like common predictors of a long-lasting, successful relationship. You have realistic expectations and shared interests. You can deal with conflict. A lot of people think conflict is bad. It's not. It's more how you deal with it. You're gonna have fights in a relationship. When you spend a lot of time with someone, you're gonna fight with them eventually. You're gonna have some conflict, but it's how you face and deal with it that matters more, right? Are you able to work through it, or do you just kind of shove it down? Right? So being able to deal with that conflict, and then having expression of like sexual like expression and variety is also important if it's important to the individuals in the relationship. Some people it's not a big factor, but for those who are interested, having that sexual expression and variety and like positive interactions there is also a big predictor. So some elements of like loving relationships that tend to be more intimate and last. And as I was somebody sent this to me, it was a couple of years ago, but I thought it was kind of like a funny like connection to this. So I'll play it for you. Little video about like how to make relationships better in a way. I don't know if my partner would agree with this, but I'll play it for the thing. Like sometimes technology can be a really big helper in relationships and something that people bond over, and other times it can be a barrier. Right? Like if one person's always on your phone, like very common, like our family will all 5 of us be sitting in a room together and we're all on our phones, but we're in the room together, right? Like, and that doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing, but it's just kind of an interesting thing about how sometimes technology can be a little bit of like an interference or take up time or divide your attention. Yeah. Oh, for sure.
My partner had to agree that we were gonna like text each other when we were angry.
Sure.
That's how the worst arguments are happen.
Right. Well, because you're missing so much context and texting.
Like tone as well.
Tone.
Was missing the words.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My partner's obsessed with TikTok, right? Like obsessed with TikTok, like watches, like that's like her only like decompression, right? And so it could be a barrier, but instead I'll just sit there and watch it with her. So now we're doing it together. Now it's a frequent positive interactions. You're sitting there watching TikTok. I caved, that's fine, I don't mind. But so you can find ways to like do stuff together in that way, but it can also become a barrier. So can things like interpreting texts, right, from each other, or like who you follow or who you like on certain pieces of media. We got into an argument like 3 weeks ago because my partner's ex was stalking her on TikTok. Right. And I was like, why? Like we've been together 22 years. Like But I'll always be threatened by this person. I don't know why, right? Like, that's just who I am as a person. I'm insecure. I can remember like selfless, crazy, but also good. I had the selfless quality in there last time. But we got into like a big argument. She's like, I don't know why she's following me. And then we went back and you could see all the times that she had watched videos. She was watching our kids' videos like on TikTok. Like, and so like, I know it's like, why now? Right. And we went back and could see it. So sometimes too, the people you follow or don't follow, or who follow or comment on your things, like technology can make it tricky, right? I wish I could was like, block this person. She's like, I'll block them. Hopefully it never happens again, unless that person changes their name, right? So sometimes that can be a little bit of a barrier too. So again, things that tend to be kind of positive indicators to help overcome some of those challenges as well. Any other like comments or thoughts or questions, anything else here before we keep going? One more chapter? Okay, so our next one is chapter 10, which is all about sexual expression, arousal, and response. It's just kind of some different behaviors and things related to that. But I'm gonna take 1 second. My kid's school has called twice, so I'm gonna step out for a minute and just see what's up. I know what it is. Paisley. I can feel it. I can feel it in my heart. It's always Paisley because she ate too much for breakfast. Oh no, I can feel it. Okay, but give me just like 1 minute so you can just relax for a second. I'm just gonna see what they said in their voicemail. Give me 1 second.
If I could, I absolutely should. That takes it does. It does.
That's like your hair.
It does. Yeah, exactly. My God, no, I'm perfect girl. I absolutely would have my hair match my own.
That's right.
Yep. So.
Get to know your children.
Yes.
So my daughter Paisley's in the emergency room. That's almost in the nurse's office with an upset stomach crying. So I'm gonna have to go get her. And then she'll be in trouble. Not for me, I'm like, I get it, but like, she's crying and the nurse won't give her a Tums. She's like, I just want a Tums, and the nurse won't give me one. She's so mean. They're not allowed to. They're not allowed to. So, okay, so a couple of things. So let me like go over the exam stuff and then I'll make a few comments here and then apparently I have to go get her. It's the Takis. She eats those Takis and they're so spicy. Look at you all nod. You're like, yep, yeah. For her, my fingers are blue for like half a day. I'm like, I can't even imagine what that's doing to your stomach, but
Right.
I know it's the Takis. I know, right? Yeah. I know, right? That's probably good advice. Okay, so a couple of things. So I want to talk about the exam really fast. Let me bring this up. So the exam, just like the first test, will open up Wednesday morning at 12:01 a.m. and then it'll close at 11:59 p.m. And as I just said, you don't have to take it during this time, but I have given you that time. So just sometime that day, if you click on modules, the study guide is on here. I actually think this one's a little easier just because it doesn't have any anatomy diagrams. The last one you had those anatomy diagrams, which made it a little more challenging. But here's the study guide. If you click on study guide number 2, yes, I know. My partner's like, are you gonna get her? I'm like, yes, I'm going, right? Yes, Takis. All right, so this one is on chapter 11, 7 and 3, 8 and 9, and 10. So everything since the last exam, none of our exams are cumulative. So if it's on here, make sure that you know it. If it's not on here, you don't need to worry about it. And I gave you this piece of advice, and I give it, I think, in every class, but if it were me, what I would do is write all these terms out. Have it in front of you. If you're trying to find an answer, let's say you get to, you get to, I don't know, you got butterflies in the stomach, and you don't remember what that is. If you're trying to look it up, you're going to run out of time. So make sure that you study, make sure that you prepare, have this in front of you. It's open note and open book. So many of you did beautifully and did so well on that first exam, right? You're feeling proud, right? So I hope you do it again, right? I really hope all of you get a good grade, but please study and prepare. We won't have class in person. Hopefully you also get a chance to enjoy it with like virtually a little bit. I heard they're gonna have more like food and stuff this year, so that's exciting. I'm gonna come here for that too. They said food, I'm like, I'll be here, right? As long as it's not tacos. So the exam will be that day. One last thing related to this. Please, 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 if something comes up, all right, you have an emergency, you run out of time to do the exam. If you reach out to me before the deadline passes, I am more than happy to give you an extra day or work with you. But if you reach out to me after the deadline, it's going to be too late. So just keep that in the back of your mind that if as the day goes on, you're not having a good day, you don't feel well, something comes up, reach out to me. Please just make sure you do it before the deadline. Same format and style, you'll get a score instantly with everything but the short answer. Okay, so the short answer ones are going to be like little lists of things or like, just like last time, same format and style. So be sure to review. I'm so sorry we won't get to chapter 10, so make sure you kind of look over the slides. It's actually kind of a light chapter anyway, so of all the ones, I don't feel too bad about that. But good luck on the exam on Wednesday. And then when I see you on Monday, we move on to chapter 13, which is contraception and abortion. I usually do like a little group project with that. So I hope you're here. It'll be an activity just to kind of give you a heads up. I'm so sorry to have to end early. I'm gonna go pick up my blue-fingered child from I keep saying the emergency office. So I'll hang out for a minute if you have questions. Otherwise, I'll see you on Monday. Good luck on the exam.